This is Wrestling Informant Radio, WrestlingInformant.com. How's it going, everybody? Gary and Chris back with you for another show. It is Wednesday, October the 22nd, 2014. Hope you guys have had a great week. And Chris, we're on the road to Hell in a Cell. How you doing, pal?
Yes, we are, man. I'm doing great. How are you doing?
I'm doing great, man. It's been a good week here at the Wrestling Informant headquarters, and we're ready for this overly exciting pay-per-view put on by the WWE. Maybe there's a little bit of sarcasm there. I noticed the pause in your voice. You're like, wait a minute, is he serious?
Yeah, a little bit.
He can't be serious. He cannot possibly be serious.
Well, considering what I saw on Raw, I'm like, ugh.
Right. Well, before we dive in too deep, we have a very special announcement for you guys. This is normally the part where we plug the membership to our website, but for you, the podcast listeners, we have a special. You know, Chris and I have been watching the statistics and been watching the audience grow, and we want to thank you so very much for your support of our free podcast every week. So we like to continue with the theme of free. And right now, if you go to WrestlingInformant.com/membership, put in the code in the coupon button, put in the code free month, all one word, free month. We are going to give you a free month to access our website. Now, how exciting is that, Chris?
That is very exciting because for the members, there's all kinds of goodies.
Well, for the members, you just did an hour.
Another hour. That's back-to-back 1 hour shows by myself.
Yes, talking about New Japan and Ring of Honor and NXT and all kinds of stuff.
Yep, the indie focus.
It's not just WWE, folks. I know on the free show here, we tend to do a lot of WWE. We skew that way because that's, quite frankly, what our audience listens to. It's what they demand, and that's what we give you. However, for the members, we go a little more in depth, and Chris has been he's been hitting it out of the park with these shows covering the other various companies that are out there. I like it, Chris.
Thank you, and I enjoy doing it because I am definitely, for the people that aren't members, I'm all about supporting the indies, supporting independent wrestling, and for the members, I provide that deep dive that you may not get if you just don't watch it or you're not exposed to it in any way. I help out in that capacity.
Right. I mean, you follow that area a little bit closer than I do because I kind of follow the other stuff, the WWEs and all that stuff. So every time I listen to your show, I learn something new, and I like that. And what people should understand when they're taking advantage of this free month that we're going to offer is that, not only do you get, you're going to get a couple of extra shows a week. So we do this one every Wednesday. Yep. Normally on Tuesday, I'm doing my Raw review, talking about the various angles and stuff like that, and kind of giving my in-depth kind of, thoughts on the show. And then, Fridays, Chris has got the, his show we just talked about, where usually it's anywhere from 30 to 40 minutes, and then in the last couple of weeks have been close to an hour, if not more.
Yep.
And then there's some other shows sprinkled in there, but usually we try to do a couple times a week, just a couple of extra shows. And not only that, you also get, with the membership, you get access to our extensive shoot interview archive where, in the last 7 years, we've interviewed several people. A lot, we had an older radio show called The Shoot, and on that show, we interviewed a bunch of people. We put those all in the archives just for members. And you can access, just all kinds of interviews, former writers that have been on the show, Alex Greenfield, Andrew Goldstein, various wrestlers, Bob Holly comes to mind, Ken Shamrock, Buff Bagwell, John Heidenreich, Road Warrior Animal, Bobby Lashley, just a ton of people. Mean Gene Okerlund talking about the road to WrestleMania 25 from March of 2009. We got Mean Gene reminiscing about some of his favorite WrestleMania moments. Just all kinds of great stuff to find in those old archives. And then I mentioned the show, The Shoot. We are slowly adding in the archives for those as well. Episode 1 is up. We're going to be really starting to bring in the rest of the episodes soon. 2007, which was a very crazy time in WWE with the Chris Benoit, murder, suicide. A lot of things going on in 2007. So that's kind of where the show starts. And, we kind of march you through 2007 to 2010. The show took a break. It came back in 2013. and we wrapped up that show earlier this year. So we're going to slowly be adding in all that stuff to the archive as well. We're going to be taking out all the commercials, making it just the meat and potatoes of the package. So to wrap it all up in a bow for you, we're going to give you a free month. You got to go to WrestlingInformant.com/membership. You would sign up as if you were going to pay, because what happens is there is an auto renew, and I'm not just going to try to hide it like, oh yeah, you sign up and you put in your stuff and we cancel you after a month. Like, I'm not trying to hide anything. Flat out, you go in, you sign up as if you were going to be a real member. You put in your PayPal and you put in the coupon code, so it's going to charge you $0.00 for the first month, so it's not going to charge you anything. Actually, it really is free. And then the next month, unless you cancel, you'll be billed $2.99. So this is the other part, Chris. So we talked about how this price is going to go up soon, for everyone else. So if you get in now, you get locked in at $2.99 forever. As long as you stay an active member, your price will never go up. We will never raise the cost on you as long as you're an active member. So what you're doing here is, by putting in this free month, you get a free month right out of the gate. Then after that month is up, unless you cancel, you'll be charged $2.99 thereon every month. And it's the best value, folks. If you like what we do here, if you want to support us, you want to help keep the website going and keep it alive, man, we're ad-free. That stuff ain't cheap. I got to be perfectly bluntly and honest with you. But we're doing it because we always felt there's a problem with these other websites, not only just the BS and rumors they post, but also the fact that they're all loaded with ads. Every other website you go on is loaded with ads. So we're trying to be different. We're trying to offer an ad-free website, but in that, it's never free. I mean, we have day jobs. We make good, pretty good money, but we're doing this to give the wrestling fans a place to come without all the ads. So, if you like what we do here and you want to support us, just a small, very small, support here. We're talking about $3 a month. A lot of the other guys, they're going to charge you upwards of $10 a month so you can listen to them talk on the telephone. You ever listen to those podcasts, Chris, where they're talking on there and you hear the phone buttons mashing, just like crazy?
Yep, it's like they're hitting, and then you hear them talking, it's like beep.
Yeah, I say this on our membership page. We don't give that to you. I'm just trying to be bluntly honest. We do not give that to you. It's not like some of these websites, like a Blog Talk Radio. These guys that pretend to podcast. That's not real podcasting. Okay, what you're hearing right now, people that have invested real money into a website and real equipment to give you the best sounding podcast. So. All that out of the way. This is a longer plug, I understand, and you can just skip through it if you don't want to hear it. But this is big. This is a free month. A free month of WrestlingInformant.com. Go to WrestlingInformant.com/membership. Type in the code free month, and you're locked in. Boom, we're done. Let's move on. Okay.
That's it. No more.
I will not plug for the rest of the show. I promise. Okay, maybe I'll sneak one in at the end. No, I'm kidding. So let's talk about. Let's just lead off with Raw, man. This new development on the Hell in the Cell front. Now we're going to give our predictions in the show. We'll make sure we add that in. But we just found out this week on Raw that now Randy Orton and John Cena is now going to be the winner's going to get a number one contendership of the title. Now I've got a few problems with this, Chris.
I do too.
Okay.
You're not the only one.
So here's the thing. First of all, John Cena at Night of Champions got screwed out of the title. Right. Now, you could make the argument. You could say, well, technically, it was a DQ. He lost his chance. I would say no. I mean, look, he was screwed out of the match. If you want to be real about it, he should deserve a rematch.
Right. It wasn't a clean finish.
It was not a clean finish. So there's my one problem with it. Then my other problem with it is the fact that he lost to Dean Ambrose in this little three-way feud they've been building up for the last 2 or 3 weeks here, intensely, putting a lot of TV time into it. It feels like it's been like 4 or 5 weeks, but I think it's really only been about maybe 3 weeks tops. Rollins, Ambrose, and Cena, and he loses to Ambrose. First of all, he acts like he doesn't care, but he lost the match. So he gets the runner-up, Randy Orton, the consolation prize, rather. And so now you've got the loser versus the consolation prize, And that are those are the two guys that are going to fight for the title. I've got a big problem with that.
Right, and the other problem I have is that they're trying to trump the awesome Rollins Ambrose feud.
Oh, you can hang it up right now. Cena Orton will headline this show. I guarantee it. I would bet money on it.
Yeah, it's nauseating.
I don't like it.
I don't either. I think it should be Rollins Ambrose.
I do too. I mean, that's the feud. When you look at the feuds, as far as it's kind of this problem of the monthly pay-per-views where the pay-per-view has like a gimmick attached to the name. So it's like unless you plan ahead, which WWE doesn't really tend to do very often, you're kind of painted into a corner with having to put a match in a Hell in a Cell in October. So normally, they're getting around to Hell in the Cell, and then you get this like unnatural match where the feud doesn't really call for it. Well, here's the interesting opportunity here is that Rollins and Ambrose actually calls for a Hell in a Cell. That's how long the feud's been going, and it makes sense for them to end it in a Hell in a Cell. And not to mention, Rollins has been running away all this time, so it makes perfect sense. It books itself, right?
Right.
So, but now you for some reason you have to have two cell matches because they got rid of the second WWE World Title. So, but they still feel like they need to have the second Hell in the Cell for whatever reason. I don't know why.
I don't know either.
And I don't think you need it, but that's just my opinion. So they feel like they need to have the second match. And it's like, oh, well, geez, what are we going to have for Randy Orton? What are we going to have for John Cena? God damn, we got to give him something, right? So then the other problem is that, they're not really, focusing, trying to get anybody else hot and build them up. So it's just like, we'll just put them against each other again.
Well, and the other problem for me is it seems like that with this Raw, they pretty much just washed away the previous 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Because of the buildup they had between the three of them and Randy Orton not being in the picture. Now you got these two different matches, two contrasting matches, almost like the previous 3 weeks didn't matter.
Well, that and they've been trying to they tried to make it feel important as best as they could. And I would say, like, I watch what they try to do, and it's just like, this is the same stuff that they've said every time they've had one of these promos. Because, like, there's been a couple of times. There was one time on Raw, I want to say it was like 2008, where they're like, I remember it was towards the end of the year or something like that, and they're like, this is the last time you're ever going to see these guys fight ever again. Yeah, and then, like, 3 years ago, they had another fight. And then,
right, or once in a lifetime, happened twice.
Right. And then they're like, and then they said something like, oh, man, we thought this was going to be the last time before, but now it's going to be again, and these guys are just going to try to really settle the feud here. And then they kind of cut these promos about how they're, about how they're one another's going to settle the score once and for all. But you've settled it once and for all about 8 times. Like, how are you going to settle the score again? Like, I mean, the score should be settled. The shop should be closed. It's closing time.
Right. You've been fighting since 2002. I think it's time to really end it and not just say you're going to end it.
Yeah, and then you have and then you have Paul Heyman introduced. Like, wow, they're talking about Brock Lesnar again. Unbelievable. We hadn't heard about Brock Lesnar in like the last 2 weeks.
Right, and I mentioned this last week on our show. It's like they treat it like he didn't exist. He doesn't exist. They didn't even mention the world title all that much.
No, they have not.
Only when they were talking about John Cena.
Of course, yeah, of course.
That's it. They didn't even mention Paul Heyman's name.
And look, I'm not trying to hit on John Cena. John Cena should absolutely have a rematch because he was screwed. I firmly believe that, yes, he should have a rematch. He was screwed out of his last match, but just this way they've gone about it. It's just like you should have written something else. Let Ambrose and Rollins have their thing all along. You didn't need to put John Cena in it because you couldn't figure out what you were going to do. And then now, we got to somehow circle Cena back to the title. Or this just wasn't necessary.
Or the other thought, because I said this before, and I thought it'd be too crowded, but the more I thought about it, I think it would make more sense. Have a triple threat Hell in a Cell.
You could have done that as well. But what are we going to do with Randy Orton? We can't leave Randy Orton and Kane off the show.
Oh, yeah, you got the left out, the child that's left out.
I know. It's just
everybody's left out. You can't have any hurt feelings.
But meanwhile, we've got to watch the U.S. and IC champion losing on Raw. We can't have any emphasis on some new guys coming up. We've got to stay with the old guard and continue with the old guard. And this is on there. This is completely on them. Like, I never want to hear them say, well, gee, what else are we going to do? We have nobody else. Of course we have to go to Cena or again. No, this is all your fault because you're not building people up. You're not getting them ready to go. I'm not saying they got to headline WrestleMania tomorrow, but goddamn, get these people up and going. Let's roll, man. Let's get these stories developed.
Right, and make the titles mean something.
Yeah, I mean, we cannot.
That's the other thing.
We cannot have these TV guys just trading wins every week. It's just nobody's going to get over one another if you're trying to make them all the same. They're all the same and it all equals the same. They don't matter. Nobody cares. Like, that's just not the way you want to go about it. I just think it's all wrong. And that's exactly why, Chris, we're getting Cena and Ambrose versus Randy Orton, Kane, and Seth Rollins on like the last 2 or 3 Raws in some variation, if not that exact very match.
Right. Trying to disguise it in the form of a street fight.
Oh, God. A street fight where they're tagging in and out like it has rules or something, right?
Right, and wearing their wrestling gear. Yeah, that works.
Well, the wrestling gear is fine, but just trying to like play it up like it's anything but a no-rules street fight. It's like, come on, guys.
Well, in the past, all the street fights I've seen is guys coming out in the jeans or T-shirt and jean shorts or something to make it somewhat believable that it's not a wrestling match.
Well, that's true, but it's crazy, man.
Maybe that's just me nitpicking.
I think it is.
Probably, but that's the old school in me.
Yeah. Well, enough of the ranting and raving. Let's talk about Mick Foley, a surprise guest on the show. I think it really fit here. I really liked his involvement with Rollins and Ambrose. What did you think about it?
No, it was perfect. It definitely fit their angle. It fit the theme, and because of his history and the way they're going at each other, I think it worked.
Yeah, I
absolutely worked. It got my attention, and it just worked.
It was a nice treat. I even tweeted, I'm like, damn, first Rock shows up unexpected. Now Mick. Who's next? Austin? It's like, wow, man, this is this is pretty cool stuff to see Mick out there, and he's kind of talking about how the Hell in a Cell changed him, and really kind of it adds this extra perspective to it, and seeing him with Rollins and Ambrose as opposed to just going out there with Cena and Orton or something.
Yeah,
trying to educate them on what this match means. It was nice to have a legend telling these 2 young up and coming guys, "Hey guys, this is your first rodeo at the Hell in the Cell, so this is what you're up against coming up here. Check this out, and this is what's going to happen." And I just really liked it. I thought it worked very, very well.
It did, and I like when he said, There's the person you are before and after.
Oh yeah,
totally different, and I really like that because then you can see it in their eyes. They're thinking, "Oh my God," they're like, it's starting to. It looks. You can see the looks on their faces where it's starting to sink in. Like, okay, maybe this is worse than I thought.
Well, it's also one of these things of, I think these guys, in their mind, like even if they don't headline the show, and they absolutely should, damn it. I mean, it's just a crime if they don't. But now that Cena and Orton is for the #1 contendership,
right, in a quote double main event,
yeah, now that's going to take precedence because it has to do with the title. So
right,
I get it. But look, I think these guys, regardless, no matter what spot they're in, I think they're going to steal the show.
Oh, they will.
Like, you're going to watch Cena and Orton and be like, all right, yeah, we've seen this. You're going to watch Ambrose and Rollins, and they're going to go out there and do some crazy stuff, and I think it's going to be pretty impressive. I'm really, these guys are already talented as it is, but you're going to put them in a cell, and I think in their own minds, like, they're probably thinking to themselves, wow, this is a big opportunity. We're going to be in the cell. It's a high-stakes match. Our characters are at this peak of our feud here. We need to really put on a strong performance, and I think they will.
Yep, and remind you now, this is the first time they faced each other in WWE. The very first time.
In a Hell in a Cell.
Well, I don't think they didn't.
They fought on Raw like a month ago or something.
Oh, but as far as pay-per-view goes.
Oh, well, no. Remember SummerSlam, wasn't it? They fought at SummerSlam. Had to, because remember they were going to fight, I think, what was it, like Money in the Bank or something, and then they didn't.
Oh, that's right, because then there was the Ambrose got thrown out. And
oh, yeah, he got thrown out of the building, yeah.
Yeah.
But I want to say, I thought they fought at SummerSlam. Didn't they have a match at SummerSlam? It was like it might even have been like a gimmick match.
I thought
Hold on, I'll look it up.
Yeah,
here.
look it up. Look it up because I don't remember. I thought it was supposed to happen, but it didn't.
I think that was either Money in the Bank or
Extreme Rules.
Or Extreme Rules. No, Extreme Rules was before he turned heel.
Oh, that's right. That was Shield Evolution. So yeah, it was after. It was right before SummerSlam.
All these pay-per-views mixed together, man.
See, this is the problem with so many pay-per-views.
Yeah, they fought in a lumberjack match at SummerSlam. Lumberjack.
Oh, okay, so it was a gimmick. So I mean, we're getting yeah.
Seth Rollins got the win too.
That's right. I forgot.
There it is, man.
Stupid gimmick matches and gimmick pay-per-views.
God, Chris, man, we're getting rusty on our history here. It's crazy.
I know.
This is like 2 months ago.
I know. I can remember what happened in 1997.
No, that's absolutely true. I've said this before. I don't know if it was on this show or our old show, but it's like you look back, you can remember stuff from 20 years ago.
You're right.
Easier than you can try to remember what they're doing now.
Right, because I remember 1997, Bad Blood, Hell in a Cell. It was here in St. Louis.
Well, that's why you remember, because it's in St. Louis, yeah.
Well, no. It was the first appearance of Kane.
Oh, well, yeah.
At Hell in a Cell.
Yeah, that's true.
It was one of the early Hell in a Cell matches.
That's the thing, man. It's like very few things about this era stick. Like,
right.
Nothing's sticking in the mind with people. Like, people are going to, 10 years from now, they're going to look back, maybe they're going to be our age 10 years from now. They're not going to remember anything. Right,
because they don't stick to anything. They're always shifting and editing on the fly, and they're making these last-minute changes, confusing the hell out of people. Like I was confused half the show.
Yeah, that's true. Let's shift gears a little bit. Talk about Rusev Big Show. I know, like I said, we're gonna do the match card here in a little while, but I want to kind of just talk about a few things from Raw, and really there's not a whole lot else, but
not really.
The Rusev, this thing got a lot of heat on the Twitter, man. I got a lot of people blowing up the Twitter of him kicking a Planet fan dressed up as a military man. What do you think about that?
Oh, I don't know. It looked kind of cheesy. That's what I think. I don't know. I didn't buy it for a minute. I'm thinking, okay, really?
Well, I didn't buy it either, but I don't really think they need to do that.
No, that is completely unnecessary.
I mean, you look at everything Rusev's done up until now, and I've said this on the show before, but I'm just gonna, for new listeners that may not have heard my opinion, I really love the fact that they're letting him talk now. I really enjoy that, but the thing is, everything they've done with him up until now has been fine enough. Like the heat on him is fine. People boo and they chant USA, and normally whoever he's fighting, people get behind. Like you had thought it's like some huge long feud, like people were chanting for Mark Henry real loud, chanting for Big Show. Yep. Swagger, people thought Swagger was having like this big resurgence because he was being cheered, but really it was just the fact that he was up against Rusev. Like I think anybody that gets involved with Rusev, it's going to be a money thing because he's got that point now where people are just they don't like this guy.
Right, they absolutely hate him.
Right, so I think kicking the military guy is a little bit it's a little bit over the line, but I didn't buy it though. I thought that maybe if they would have if they didn't focus on the guy, it would have looked a little more believable. But the fact that they kept the camera on him, and the fact that if this was real life, let's be honest, dude. A lot of those guys go to the shows together. These Army guys, because they get on TV and they wave and everything, and they like to go because they're brothers, man. They're banded together, and so it's one of these things of if that was for real. You don't think 5 of those guys would have bum rushed the ring and beat the crap out of Rusev if that was a shoot?
Oh, they would, because they never go by. It's never just one. Like you said, it's never just one guy.
Yeah,
never. It's always a group of 3 or 4 or 5 guys.
Yeah, these guys go to war together, man. I mean,
right, and Army, they're not jumping the rope. They're not jumping the barricade for real. They're not. They never have.
If that happened for real though, if they if somebody didn't clue them in ahead of time. If people actually bought it for a second, somebody would have jumped the barricade and all hell would have broke loose. And maybe they were hoping that something crazy would have happened, so people would have bought it. But I don't think it was just people on Twitter like, oh my God, did that really just happen? Like, really, they went there. It wasn't even like, oh my God, this is crazy thing to see. A lot of the people on following us on Twitter at PW Informant were tweeting us, and I could because we follow everybody, like we're talking to everybody and just seeing what they're saying, and it's like, wow, did they really just go there? It just wasn't necessary,
No, didn't need to happen.
So I think that, Rusev's got enough heat as it is, man. They don't really need to go that far. So
no, not at all.
But as far as Raw, I mean, is there anything else you can think of that you really want to hit on me? Because like I said, the comedy was lacking again from this show. I mean, they left the comedy out here. It was
right.
It was left out of the equation for the most part. We have the IC and US champions losing. Anything else here about the show that stuck out to you?
Sandow was awesome. Or Damian Mizdow.
Oh, he's always awesome.
That was great.
Yeah, I mean, he's always great, man.
Yeah, he's firing on all cylinders right now.
I think
with the whole stunt double thing, I love it.
Eventually, they're gonna pay this guy back and be like, man, you've been a good supporter, and we're gonna finally give you a good run, because he's been a good troop about it. He's been like going along with all the goofy stuff, and then he gets to the Mizdow thing, and that's kind of over. But eventually they're going to really hook him up and give him something nice, I feel, for going along with all this stuff.
I certainly hope so.
Yeah. All right. Let's see here. You want to do Hell in a Cell now, or you want to save that for towards the end of the show? What do you think?
We could. Yeah, since we've been talking about Hell in a Cell, let's go ahead and we go ahead and do that now.
All right. Well, I'll tell you what. There, Chris, why don't you pull up the card and read out the matches, and we'll see what we think here.
Let's see. I got the card right here, and it's not in any order.
Okay.
So I'm just gonna go with. Let's see. We got Brie Bella versus Nikki Bella, and the loser must become the winner's personal assistant.
I feel like they will probably have Nikki win just to keep a heel going over the babyface.
I think so too, and that's the only reason. And
I think they just want to drag that out, man.
Yep, they're gonna do the whole Total Divas thing and just drill that in. And
well, if you think about it too, like there's more imagery, better imagery, I guess, in their mind of the heel bullying around the babyface, making her servant or whatever.
Yeah.
So that's I think Nikki Bella's winning this all day.
Yeah, I do too.
They don't like to let a baby face come up on the heel, man. They just don't, for some reason.
No, especially in this case with Nikki looking very strong as a heel.
Yeah.
In this case, it wouldn't make any sense.
Yeah, especially, and Stephanie's had her hands in the story too, so they'll probably want to keep it as evil for as long as possible.
Keep it authority influenced.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, all right, what do you think? You agree or?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
I agree. Nikki wins.
What's the next match?
We got the United States title. Sheamus defends against The Miz.
Well,
Oh, and here goes a little backstory. We have 2 consecutive title victories over United States champion Sheamus. So The Miz does own a few victories over Sheamus.
Well, that should mean that Sheamus is going to go over, right? Because he just lost
absolutely
on TV.
Right,
So
absolutely.
I'm picking Sheamus.
Yeah, I am too.
All right.
I do not expect a title change here.
No, not at all. What's next?
All right, we have Divas title, AJ Lee against Paige.
That's a tough one because they could really go either way with that.
And they have been. They've been switching it back and forth.
Let's see. How long has AJ had it for this current run? More than a month, right?
Let's see. She kept it at the last. She went at the last pay-per-view.
And this is her 8th time fighting Paige, isn't it?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think AJ's gonna retain.
Yeah, they'll probably keep it with AJ.
Right.
I would agree with that. Next match.
All right, something we just finished talking about with the plant is Big Show and Rusev.
You got to keep Rusev strong. I think they're ultimately going to save him for probably John Cena down the road, maybe WrestleMania, or maybe somebody for Roman Reigns when he gets back.
Perhaps.
I'm saying Rusev all the way.
Oh yeah, he's not losing.
No way. He kicked the truth. He kicked a troop in the face.
Right.
He ain't losing.
No way.
Oh boy. Okay. Well, who we got next?
All right, we got the tag team champions Goldust and Stardust against the Usos.
I will say they're going to keep it on Goldust and Stardust for now.
Yeah. I was thinking
because the Usos had it for so long.
Right.
By default, I would think that Goldust and Stardust would hold it for a little while longer.
Right, automatically.
Yeah.
And I do like them as tag champs.
Yeah.
Goldust and Stardust. I mean, for what it's worth.
They talk about some weird stuff, but
it's bizarre. It's some freaky stuff.
While we're talking about teams, just real quick, I hate to break away, but this whole Wyatt thing about how he's setting Harper and Rowan free and it's coming.
Yeah.
What's coming? Is a pizza coming? What's coming, Chris?
I don't know. Some more weird, cryptic promos.
Yeah, exactly.
If anybody out there has epilepsy, don't watch these.
Very true.
Because they're flashing those lights and it's like hurting my eyes. I'm like, oh my god.
Good
they're
point.
Flashing back and forth. So yeah, if you have epilepsy, you will get a seizure. So I recommend you probably just turn it off or just keep the sound up or go to another room so you can hear it.
Fair enough. What's the okay? So Goldust and Stardust, is that what you picked or?
Yeah,
okay.
yeah, oh yeah, yeah. The Usos aren't taking the titles here.
Great. What's next?
All right, let's see. We got the match I believe, and you and I both believe should be the main event: Dean Ambrose and Seth Rollins, Hell in a Cell.
Yeah, this is tough, man. Because in my eyes, you want to still keep Seth strong because he's your Money in the Bank guy.
Yeah.
Wow, that's tough because. At the same time, you don't want Ambrose to lose.
No.
But it seemed like, this past Monday, they got him eating popcorn and watching Kane's movie. So,
yeah, watching a straight to DVD.
I'm going to say Seth Rollins, but only after he's used like a weapon to knock him unconscious. I'm going to say that Seth Rollins will go over here.
I'm going Ambrose.
You're going to go Ambrose. Wow, we disagree for once.
Right, yeah.
And why did you think Ambrose?
Because of the chase. The chase that Ambrose has had, he finally gets his revenge on Seth Rollins. Rollins can't go anywhere. Ambrose probably bring a bag of tricks.
So you really think it's going to be the end of the feud?
I don't think it'll be the end of the feud, but I think Ambrose will get the victory.
Okay, well, I hope you're right for the record, but I have this feeling Rollins will go over.
Right, he probably will, but that's me hoping against hope that Ambrose does get the win.
All right, fair enough. Next match.
I seriously doubt this is the end of their feud.
Yeah.
All right, let's see. We got the other half of what Triple H is calling the double main event.
The loser versus the consolation prize.
Right. The fourth place match.
Yes.
John Cena versus Randy Orton for the
number one contender.
For the future shot at getting smashed by Brock Lesnar.
Well, I think they want to end up with Lesnar and Cena in another match. I think that's inevitable. But
yeah, I think so too.
But this is a big what if though, because we saw the end of Raw, Ambrose curb stomping Orton.
Rollins.
Oh my God, Rollins. Excuse me.
Yes.
Rollins curb stomping Orton, and I think Orton at some point is going to turn babyface down the line. So, with that in mind, and let's not forget that Orton also RKO'd Heyman.
He did.
So Brock Lesnar may have something to say about that too, but then again, Rollins curb stomped him, so curb stomped Lesnar at the last show.
Right. So I'll say, do we see Rollins get involved in this match in any way?
I wouldn't doubt it.
Or even Kane.
I don't know, man. If you got a gun to my head, I'm going to say it's probably John Cena.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because they're gonna wrap that up because that's still unfinished because of what happened at the last pay-per-view.
Yeah, it's got to be John Cena.
Gotta be.
That's the last match?
Yeah, that's it.
Okay, very good.
That is on the WWE site. I'm looking at the site right now. We went through all the matches that are on the site.
Well, I'll tell you what, man. If John Cena, this is a good segue here. If John Cena's WWE career doesn't work out, and I think it's going to work out just fine, if you head over to WrestlingInformant.com right now, we have an article. Variety.com got the exclusive, but John Cena teaming up with Left Field Pictures, and they're probably saying, Gary, who the hell's Left Field Pictures? Well, I'm going to tell you. Left Field Pictures are the guys who produced the show Pawn Stars on the History Channel. Pawn Stars is a top-rated program.
Yep, it's one of my favorites.
Yeah, and sometimes they have outdrawn Raw in the ratings before, believe it or not. But John Cena is teaming up with these guys at Left Field Pictures, to start developing TV shows. So John Cena is going to get behind the camera here and work on some development on some reality shows focusing around unknown individuals from all walks of life. Cena told Variety in a quote, "For someone like me that's surrounded by so many interesting characters, you know when you brush up against someone who can hold a room. There are so many people out there who can hold someone's attention." And then the left field CEO, Brent Montgomery, said about John Cena, he said, "John Cena has broad appeal across so many different audiences and demographics. It makes total sense that his celebrity has exploded." Okay. He says that left field has always been an entrepreneurial outfit, and they love collaborating with other aggressive entrepreneurs looking for creative ways to reach new markets and tell compelling, unconventional stories. We are really excited to be in business with Cena. Now, this is interesting, man, because, look, when The Rock walked away to do movies, people backstage were not thrilled about this. They were not, they were not so thrilled about Rock leaving to go to the movies. Now, if John Cena, he may not walk away now, but if he's looking to, step aside here and start doing some of this TV stuff, you got to wonder if there's going to be that same resentment, or if he's going to try to find a way to make this work and be a big part of WWE, whether that be in ring or out of the ring. Because I got to think in my mind that John Cena is the kind of guy, and I don't know him, I've never met him, but I get the feeling that he's probably the kind of guy who wouldn't mind having like a backstage role eventually in WWE.
Right. It looks like he's definitely, trying to think here. He's preparing. I don't want to say he's preparing for life after wrestling.
Yeah.
But that's almost what it seems like. He's dipping his hands in other things.
I think he's preparing his life for life after in-ring competition, perhaps.
There we go. That's what I was looking for.
That might be a better thing.
Probably.
And this is a big story, man, because if he gets the wrong injury or something to that effect, man, he could just hang it up tomorrow and he's got this new thing that he can work on and be successful. And how will people feel about this? That's the other question. How do wrestling fans, or how will wrestling fans react to this? And I think it all depends on, his involvement with WWE going forward. If how much time he's going to give to this, how much time he's going to give to his wrestling career. Because I gotta be honest with you, man. I mean, I've never put together a TV show, but I know people that have. I've got friends that are in the TV and movie business. And this is not easy stuff. This is stuff that you take months developing. Months.
Right. Yeah, no, it's a lot. It's a definite time commitment. And it'd be time away from in-ring competition.
Yeah, so this is a big story, man.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see, and of course, we'll keep you updated as more details come in, but I got to wonder how the rest, because in general, the type of people that listen to this show, the people online, I think they're going to, MF John Cena no matter what.
Oh, of course.
He's going to be a piece of crap if he's in the ring, if he's out of the ring. But I wonder how the casual fan would see this, Is he a traitor because he's walking away? Well, nobody's saying he's walking away now, but if he does, it'd be interesting to see how people react to that. So
right, because you remember all of his promos with The Rock.
Yeah.
Where he was talking about he's been here for 12 years straight. He didn't leave. He didn't do this. He didn't do that. He's always been here. Rock's left, done his movies.
Yeah, I mean it's going to be an interesting story to watch, and they mentioned in this article that they've actually got some new projects in the pipeline already, but they're not ready to reveal the concepts just yet. So we've got this article over at WrestlingInformant.com. You can read more details on it. And if they've already got some projects in the pipeline now, I mean, my God, man, Cena, this guy, does he ever sleep? That's what I want to know.
Right, when does he stop?
And if he's not, and if he is still doing all this regular WWE stuff, I mean, he must have like a computer in front of him. Maybe he's Skyping with these guys, collaborating on ideas, sitting on the phone 24 hours a day. I mean, my God, man, this guy's got to be crazy busy.
Right, that guy's a machine.
Yeah. Another big item that we have posted on our website, which I recommend you check out, WrestlingInformant.com. Stephanie McMahon talking to Yahoo Sports, doing a Q&A, and man, does she love to tell everybody that she plays a character on TV.
Right. She she makes it very clear that there's a distinct difference between Stephanie McMahon, the executive, and Stephanie McMahon, the character.
Now, a lot of people have criticized her for this. They said, oh, she's just breaking kayfabe. She's killing kayfabe and all this stuff. And here's the thing. I don't have a big problem with her doing an interview like this with a Yahoo Sports. If she wants to, talk about her on-air persona or whatever. My issue is, does she have to go out of her way to point out, hey, look at me, I play a character? Like, if somebody asks her about it, that's fine. Yeah, if you're in a media setting and you're being asked by a registered member of the media, wow, Stephanie, you're so nice here, but you're so nasty on TV or whatever, what is this character or whatever, she's being asked about it, that's fine. But for her to go out of her way and just gloat about how much she loves being bad on TV, I just think it's a little excessive at times. That's just me, though. I mean, it's like every interview now that we read from her, it's like she's going out of her way to talk about her character.
Well, in addition to that, too, I've heard her talk about the Monday Night Wars, or the Monday Night War, I should say, because it was just one war. Yeah. But her dad, Vince McMahon, she always explains that he is not, he's still my dad, but he was this evil character on TV all the time.
All the time.
Yeah, anytime you bring up Mr. McMahon, the character, it's always that. She's always having to qualify it as he's not really like this. Yeah.
That's just crazy. So here's what she had to say on as it relates to playing a bad guy on TV. She says, I just like to have fun, being able to play the bad guy as my character is on TV, as a member of the Authority, and being probably one of the ultimate villains on the show. That's an understatement. Of course you're the ultimate villain. You put yourself in that position. You and Triple H are the ultimate villains on the show. You have more heat than anybody else, for crying out loud. Okay, sorry. In rant. I love to play the bad guy. It's just so much fun. And yes, it is a dramatic contrast to who I am in real life. But I like to have a lot of fun in real life too. Maybe it's my alter ego coming out. I'm not sure. But I certainly do like to embrace the dark side on camera. Just going out of her way, man.
Yep.
Talking about ads on the WWE Network. We talked about this last week. Do appreciate, we got a few tweets, people chiming in with their thoughts. We do appreciate that at PW Informant. Thank you. She says, quote, the strategy is obviously a business decision to have limited advertising on the WWE Network. We want subscribers to know that there won't be commercial breaks during scheduled programming, so your shows will not be interrupted. It's going to be limited advertising in between the shows themselves. There will also be the occasional advertising before our video on-demand content, but not before every video. I remember going on the network yesterday, and they had a commercial. I don't remember what it was for, but it was like a little boy and his mother in the kitchen or something, and maybe it's for like toilet paper or something. I don't remember, but there was a pre-roll ad, and it loaded right up, and sure enough, after 30 seconds, it was done with. It was simple. It was fine. But she also, in the interview, I recommend you guys go and check out the listing we have here, WrestlingInformant.com, to read the full article. We're not going to go each question line by line, but she did answer one thing, though. The WWE Network will be carrying WrestleMania 31. So, a lot of people question this because on the Raw, Cole and JBL kind of get cutesy with the wording. And, they always like cut it off. They're like, well, gee, if you order now, you get all the pay-per-views through the end of the year. And then it makes it sound like, whoa, you're not carrying WrestleMania? What's going on here? So she ended that confusion and said, yes, they will be carrying WrestleMania 31. So you can quote that, folks. It's in the books. This is one more quote I do want to read because this is pretty important. She was asked about, the professional sporting leagues like the NFL cracking down on domestic abuse. So she said that the WWE, she gave WWE's stance on this, and she says, we have a zero tolerance policy for domestic abuse. Upon arrest for such misconduct, our superstars are immediately suspended, and should there be a conviction, that superstar or diva would be terminated. And this is something new that was added to the wellness policy, actually. If you look it up on the corporate WWE site, you can read this section now added in about domestic abuse, Chris. So there you go.
No, I think that was smart on their part.
Of course.
They obviously not just because obviously it's because they do have a board to answer to. They're a publicly traded company. They're involved with all these charities and outreach programs, everything like that. So for them to go out there and say, all right, we're stopping this right now. It's not going to happen here. This zero tolerance. I think that's obviously a genius move. Very smart.
Yeah, definitely. And finally, she was asked about there were reports of wrestlers on Total Divas not allowed to win the Divas title, and she said that's absolutely not true, and she doesn't know how it got started. And then the interviewer, smart enough to remind her of how it got started, it was Nikki Bella on a radio show that had mentioned that, and she said there is no policy. I think it would be awesome to have one of the Total Divas as our champion. I think it would drive interest in the storyline. She says, I would never say never. So there you have it. Stephanie McMahon on Yahoo Sports. Good interview here. A lot of ground coverage. She talks about competition, the Monday Night Wars and all that, or Monday Night War, excuse me, and all that stuff. So you can read that there. And speaking of Total Divas, Chris, it was announced on Monday that we got a couple of new Total Divas for the second half of Season 3, which premieres in January. You're going to see Paige and Alicia Fox added to the cast. I think it's going to be kind of interesting, Chris, to see how these divas are on the TV show.
Oh, absolutely, especially Paige, because she's kind of that newcomer and the mystery, and nobody really knows anything about her. So this may be a good opportunity to go behind the scenes with her,
well,
so to speak.
I can tell you this. I went to WrestleMania this year in New Orleans, and we were walking around the city, and we knew where the wrestlers were staying, and I saw Paige walking down the street, and she definitely seemed like the type that kept to herself. She wasn't, so like if she's going on the Total Divas, let's have some drinks, woo, partying, then we'll know the show is a work. I mean, we kind of already know the show is pretty much a work.
Well, yeah, it's reality. It's reality TV about pro wrestling. Of course it is.
Yeah, but I've observed her in person, just seeing her, how she acted, and she definitely kept to herself for the time that I saw her. That could just be she was walking alone or whatever, but, that's just kind of what I saw. That's the impression that I got. So it's going to premiere on January 4th. So if you're upset you're going to miss Total Divas, you're going to have to wait, another, 2-3 months now before this stuff premieres again.
Right.
They've been having this whole thing with Natalya and Tyson Kidd. Do you watch this show?
I do not.
You don't?
I don't watch Total Divas. No,
See,
and that is the absolute truth.
This is something, with your wife. You guys can get together. It's on the E! Network. Maybe she likes that stuff.
She already makes fun of me for watching wrestling as it is.
Yeah, but this is different, Chris.
Oh, no, this is even worse. This is absolutely worse.
So tell me about Maria being featured, Maria Kanellis being featured on WWE.com. What's that all about?
Oh, okay. So I do have a couple of things, and I'll start with that.
Yes.
Segue. WWE.com ever so often does a section called Where Are They Now?
I know. We saw our friend Bob Holly on there a few weeks ago.
Yeah, absolutely. You see Bob Holly. I remember, let's see, Haku's been on there before, Magnum TA, just some names like that. But Maria Kanellis was featured on Where Are They Now? And basically, she's up for a scholarship, a WWE Talent Scholarship.
Wow.
Let's see, what was it? I'm trying to find... Let me go to the full story here. It's right on the front page, too, which is really awesome. So she's going back to school, and WWE's given her a scholarship. And so they featured her, and, of course, she's been all over social media because she just got married.
Yeah, that's correct.
To Ring of Honor star Michael Bennett. And They kind of touch on that a little bit, go into some of her past. But, again, more acknowledging of the independents.
No, man, that's great, man. They've definitely been featuring them on the website here and there. So, I mean, I think that's really good.
Right. I'm trying to find. Yeah, I was trying to find the actual name of that. Maria was also found out she was. This was back in September. She's receiving the first WWE Talent Scholarship, and she's going to use that to finish her degree at Johnson & Wales University.
Very cool. Congratulations to Maria.
Absolutely, her, and congratulations to her and Michael Bennett.
Oh, yeah, on their wedding. Yeah, definitely.
Their wedding. Yeah, because it looks like they had a lot of fun, and they actually worked in a show around it called Michael Bennett's Bachelor Party.
That's right. Wasn't that in Chicago, right?
It was.
Ah, yes.
Yeah, because she's from the Chicago area, and he's from the Northeast. He's from Boston.
Boston?
Boston.
We got some listeners up in Boston. What's up,
Yes, we
Boston?
do.
How you
What's
guys
up?
doing? What else you got, my friend?
Okay, now you going back to this whole domestic abuse thing and zero tolerance and all that. Chris Jericho did a Reddit, I guess like a Q&A.
Oh God, who did he abuse, Chris? What happened?
He did not. He was just doing rapid. No, really, he did. He was just doing rapid fire. People are just hitting all kinds of questions. But one of the fans asked, "Do you think Chris Benoit should be inducted into the Hall of Fame?"
Ah, yes, of course somebody's going to ask about Chris Benoit.
Right, because they went up and they were best friends for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
And I would have to agree with Chris. I do not think he should be ever come close to the Hall of Fame.
Yeah,
at all.
He's when you look at just his body of work as a wrestler, absolutely hands down a hell of a talent.
Oh God, I tell you what, just as a wrestler, I would say one of the best all time. All time.
And I think that if WWE was not a publicly traded company, if they didn't have so many stockholders and sponsors to answer to, I think as time went on, maybe like 20 years down the line, they may have considered inducting him for his body of work. But I think at this point, it's off the table. It's not even. It's more taboo than Randy Savage in the Hall of Fame.
It is. And
that's pretty taboo, folks.
Right.
That's pretty taboo.
That is very extreme. Randy Savage isn't in. Yeah, Chris Benoit's not going anywhere near.
Definitely not. So that's my opinion on that. I do not think that he should ever be in there. I know there's people that might disagree. Some really diehard wrestling fans that are somehow able to look past the fact that he murdered his kid and wife, but I've heard that argument, believe it or not. I know that may sound crazy. What I just said may sound crazy to some people listening, but there are people, my God, if you look at like YouTube comments and stuff, oh God, man.
Oh yeah. Now, on the note, do you find it tough to watch his matches?
For me, no. It doesn't. It really, I'm not like that intense about it. If he's on the TV, it doesn't bother me.
Right. For me, it's weird though because of that stigma. Because he did have all these, head trauma, concussions, dementia, whatever. It's weird for me.
I guess if you're watching some of his later stuff like 06,
right,
somewhere around there, because there were some people that were saying that, like, my God, if he had lived any longer, his heart probably would have exploded like Eddie's, or whatever the specific condition was. I remember reading something about that. They were saying that, as far as the condition his brain was in, and that if he had lived any longer, he was going to have some real heart problems and stuff like that. So,
oh man, yeah, it's still, even watching back some of his WCW stuff, it's weird for me. It's not traumatizing, but it is kind of eerie for me.
Yeah.
To watch any of his matches now.
Yeah.
And I think there was also the argument. I think somebody even tried to argue, tried to use the OJ argument, the OJ Simpson argument. But I think he was already in the Hall of Fame, and then he did that stuff.
Yeah.
So I don't even think you could count OJ because he was already in the Hall of Fame and he was already done with his career. Yeah. But no, that was interesting because I heard that today, where Jericho was talking about that, and I definitely side with him. There's no way he's going to be anywhere near the Hall of Fame.
I agree.
Yep.
All right, well, let's wrap this thing up, my friend.
Yeah, let's do it.
On that note.
Yeah, on such a positive note.
I know. Thanks, Chris.
Yeah, no problem.
Well, I'll
bring that to the table.
I'll let you plug the membership. You tell me and the listeners how we can get on this membership deal.
Oh, cool. Yeah, it's WrestlingInformant.com/membership. We do have the promo code free month. You can get your first month free, and if you get in right now for your membership, not only do you get that first month free, you get it at $2.99 a month, and you are locked in at $2.99 a month, and you get our our additional audio updates where Gary goes in depth on Raw, WWE, TNA, anything like that, and then I will go in depth on the indie scene, and there's some great stuff there, and of course our shoot archive, our library, Going back to 2007, it's still growing, still evolving, but you get all of that included at $2.99. No ads, no BS. All the promos removed from the shows, all the commercials from the shoot shows, and then like I said, you're still locked in at $2.99 a month.
Good deal, man.
Yeah, it's great stuff. Definitely check it out.
All right, we'll see you guys next week. Thanks for listening.